is that we are still in dry season. You know, last year was the height of the dry season. And if the cars are stopped, one rain in southeastern Liberia, the road gets spoiled because the road has not been maintained for years. Under Tubman, Doe, the roads were not paved, but they were regularly maintained. 1979, as a student, I wanted to do something in Kipamos, and I got in the car in Harper at 6 o'clock. By 8 to 9 o'clock, I was in Monrovia. It can't happen these days. It's not possible. You can just board a truck, but you don't know when you will get to Monrovia. Similarly, when you're leaving from Monrovia to go, you cannot plan your trip. And in a country where you can't plan anything, it's difficult to even talk about development. So it's a serious thing. You know, I intend to restore the Polway yards. I intend to restore the Road Maintenance Training Institute that was in the Buchanan Highway, where people were trained to maintain roads. You know, maybe in the next 50 years, government may not be able to pave all the roads, but let the roads be maintained so that there can be freedom of movement of people and goods. It is a fundamental right in our Constitution and under international law. You know, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So the government of Liberia now is violating the freedom of movement. And I'm saying I'm going to change that story. As president of Liberia, we will have polio yards with enough machines throughout the country. What's wrong with President? We are putting even 10 yellow machines between Ganta and Hapo to keep the roads maintained. What's wrong with putting another 10 caterpillars on the road to Vojama and even up to Foya? Right now, nobody can go to Vahun because the road is just so terrible. When I went to Lofa, I did not go to Vahun. I was told if you go to Vahun, the cars will be on the road. There are about 52 hills and valleys, and the roads have not been maintained. Same thing with Bapolo. The road to Bapolo. It's only recently that some work has been done on it, you know. So the road conditions are bad. But the good thing about it is, so when I talk about the road condition, people get electrified. They're so happy. I told them my plan is that I intend for pregnant women, children under the age of 5, and Liberians born from 65 years old, not to pay 1 cent in any government hospital or clinic when I become president. And as president myself, we pay unannounced visits to the clinic and hospital so that if the hospital and clinic are not maintained, there will be consequences. People could be fired and prosecuted. I talk about having free trade schools for all Liberian children, Liberian young men, you know, who today in the Southeast are only mining gold or riding motorbikes. You know, and those are the only two things, no trade. So I intend to open free trade schools for young people, young men and women, to have trade, to be mechanics, to be carpenters, to be masons, and to be tailors, so that they can compete for jobs and be self-employed. Even when they travel to other African countries, they can compete for jobs. I say I will, under my administration, all Liberians from kindergarten to 12th grade will go to school free of charge. Their copybook, pencils, the food they eat, and everything will be provided by government. There will not be one fee, no wire fee, nothing. So that the people can be motivated to go to school. The burden for a lot of parents in the interior is too hard to bear. There are some people who painfully have 5 children today in the interior and only sending 1 or 2 to school. You know, we'll take that burden. I intend to eliminate illiteracy in 2 years by giving stipend to junior high students, senior high students, college students, where there are colleges, to teach at least 10 illiterate persons in their communities after school. That after school program is going to make a lot of people to know how to read and write, and it's important because if you can't read and write today, you can't use the phone. Everything in the world now is on the phone, and people are happy about that. When I talk about mechanizing rice production, I want to change my very story from being a rice importer to be a rice exporter, and I show how. As president, I'll make the government buy rice producing machines, rice farming machines, Caterpillar tractors, combine harvesters, whatever we need to make big farms. Because an area like me cleared by 1,000 people in 1 week can be cleared by Caterpillar in 1 or 2 days, one Caterpillar. So we mechanize farm so that and give Caterpillar tractors and combine harvesters to all the farmers in the country through the organized farmers cooperatives. And then I will declare war against hunger and make the military, the AFL, to produce not less than 100 acres of rice in each of the 15 counties. And I strongly believe that when the army is using machines to make rice farm, and the ordinary people are using machines to make rice farm, we'll turn the story around. Liberia will now become a rice exporter, so that instead of us spending $200 million to import rice from India and other countries, we will now be generating $500, $600, $700 million from exporting rice abroad. Then we'll change the story. So when I give this kind of plan to people to get electrified, many of you were watching. One of the high points was in southeastern, the home of the president of Liberia and the deputy speaker. When I talk about the free education program, the young people were just celebrating. And it's laughable that I heard when I was in IT, I got a call from Tabata. Councilor, they say the people in southeastern Bui. I say, what kind of lie is that? Because the thing was carrying life. People watch it all over the world, so people coming from Europe and America and say, you went to Georgetown? I say, yes. The people in Georgetown are Liberians. I want to be president for all Liberians, so I couldn't exclude them. If I had where to go, Although the road to Southside, like somebody farm road, is not well maintained. It's a terrible road too. So I wonder, maybe they should have said, a better propaganda would have been, the people of Southside are so hospitable that no matter who goes there, they will welcome you, but it does not mean you translate to vote. At least if they had said that, it would have been incredible, But to say that the poor boo, maybe the boo after I left, maybe when I'm watching the video, that the probably caused a voice, you're sitting down there. But by the time the people arrived, we are left. In fact, the program, and I hope I'm not putting it in jeopardy, but the program was organized by the Township Commissioner, Mayor. He sent word to the car, our 3 cars, and said, wait, it took 30 minutes for him to arrange. Then we went, and it took another 10 or 15 minutes for him to arrange the music playing. And he gave us Cllr. He said, it's our tradition when people come and give us Cllr. We took a Cllr, we ate. He said, now we can hear from you. Then I spoke and encouraged people to register the vote. And I concluded, and he said, Councilor, thank you for encouraging our people to vote. And the program ended with getting our cars peacefully. So there was nothing like booing. But even though booing is accepted in a democratic society. It's a form of expression. I don't expect everybody to like me, and I expect people to boo and people to clap. So I didn't hear people booing me, but if they had been booing, that would not have been the downside of my trip, because, I expect that people in the president's own time would not like for somebody to be so celebrated as it was done. Yeah. So, and then another high point of the trip, and I'm saying it, somebody will say it's tribalistic, but it's not. I slept in Samuel Doe's town, the late Samuel Doe's town. Coming from Nimba, some people will be afraid for what happened during the war to sleep in that place. But the people are so nice. I arrived in Tucson in the evening around 7:30. They were waiting for me. They celebrated with a battle crowd all over the place. And then they said to me, I said, you will sleep here. We will not let you leave you to sleep. So we want you to sleep. I consulted with my delegation and said, yes, we will sleep. And by 11 o'clock, they brought us so much food that we couldn't finish. Yeah, in Tucson. The next morning, in fact, the whole night, they kept playing. I went to bed early, but when I woke up, I heard the whole night they were playing, which was good. And they said, will support you. They say you are the first presidential aspirant to sleep in our town. And that's the kind of thing I heard everywhere. They say, oh, you are the first everywhere. Well, I went to Pinestown in Sino County. The late Thomas was in town. They were jumping and say, wow, they say you are the second presidential aspirant to come in. The first was Bromsky. Since that time, nobody. So in history, only Bromsky and myself. And then I went to Drazo. I got to Maryland, went to a town called Sidiken outside. It's between Plibo and Harper. But it's a town up the Muro. We went there. We said, you are the first presidential aspirant as close as we are to Plibo to ever come here. We can just hear presidential aspirant come to Harper. And maybe people when they are going back. But the small towns, they don't come here. In Grand Cru, I slept in Belwan. And the city mayor is not afraid. He said, you will not sleep in when you sleep in my house. You know? And the next morning, all of the people in Grand Cru in Belwan pledged support. That was the first endorsement I had on the trip around the country. I was in Belwan, Grand Cru. And after the next and next and next time like that, until I went to Sastown. So yes, this trip was quite successful. I went to Fishtown. I'm not going to big towns. Big towns I appear on radio, but I go to smaller towns. Everybody who lives in the city comes from small towns. So I go to, in fact, an 87-year-old man at the checkpoint in Pakistan said, my son, I'm 87. And I said, oh, and you're walking over a stick. He said, but I just burned my phone. I still brushing bushes. You see the point in Nigeria? The strong, 87-year-old man walking. And yeah, you call her. He said, but I just come from burning my farm, my son. He said, don't go to big town, go to small town. I have been to 301 towns in Liberia. And that's historical. I think that's historic because I don't think any presidential candidate in the history of Liberia even gone to 50 towns outside the main cities. I have gone to 301. And that makes me feel I'll win this election because power belongs to the people. You go and convince them, they will give it to you. And the people in the smaller town, when they promise you, that's it. They give you the word, they keep to it. So my trip to southeastern Liberia was so successful. I'm very happy. And on the radio, I want to tell them thank you. I appear on Radio Liberty, the only radio station in Greenville that's operating now. And they replayed my interview yesterday. Gotta say the interview was so great. They replayed the replay yesterday. You know, and made several news stories out of it. And they say he has really electrified the people in San Diego. They are waiting for the voter registration to start so they can register to vote and they will vote for me. Yeah, so the trip was really, really great. I'm setting new standard of politics in Liberia. Go to the people. Don't sit on radio Monrovia. Don't just, you know, go to the big towns. Instead, they can come to the big town and send the people to us. Yeah. So you can ask any question, but basically this is that.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor.
Summary of my trip around.
Thank you so much. I think you had a successful trip in the Southeast based on exactly what you've explained. So my name is Tiawan Gongloe and I'm the news editor at OKFM. Without any doubt, one of the major concerns in the Southeast is, or could be the roads in the Southeast, like you regularly put it. Apart from that, what extra, challenges the people say in the Southeast are affecting them, apart from the road, and how do you think?
Everywhere I went, the pensioners were saying they have not received their pension pay, most of them. Also, many chiefs said they've been chief for 4 or 5 years and their names are not being on the payroll. And that is really important to them. Now, how can they call chiefs, city mayors, all these titles, and our names are now on payroll? Also, the people told us, just like in many parts of Liberia, that many of the schools don't have teachers, and where they have teachers, the teachers are called volunteer teachers. which means they are now on government payroll, and at the time for themselves pay them. And when they're ready, we decided when I come to school, that is affecting the learning of their children. You know, these are the kinds of things that people are bringing up. These are serious challenges that don't make the families happy. Yeah.
Okay, Council, many a times the politicians, when they reach out to the people, they see some of these problems, but they do not find a solution in terms of solving some of these problems. How do you think we as Liberians or the government is resolving some of these challenges?
I just said, solution of the people's problem comes through the management of public resources, the taxes generated from the country through the resources of the people. So everything I say how I would do it. For example, when I say I want to eliminate illiteracy in 2 years so that everybody can be able to use the phone, I say I will give stipend to my government will give stipend to junior high students, senior high students, and where they have colleges, college students will have an afternoon teaching program when they leave from school. They teach at least 10 persons in their community. And I believe with that kind of program, in 2 years, everybody in Liberia will know how to read and write. And people think it's a sensible and workable program. When I talk about road conditions, I say, okay, so we'll put polyware yards in the 15 counties in major towns to make sure the roads are maintained so that people can easily move up and down. And it's not strange, it happened before. Under Tubman, under Tolbo, under Doe. I grew up in Tapata. I never heard one day that the road from Zuedu to Tapata cut off because they were maintained during the dry season. With the gutters and everything. Once it rained, it's drained, and the roads were always good. Everyone who's about 40 years old say, yeah, we saw it. People relate to that. Because I live in the country, I can relate to that. So I said, we restore that. I asked somebody from Power, I saw a car on the road. I said, but why are you not? And then somebody in the car said, but a 10% business, they won't contract everything so they can get 10%. So again, it's the corruption that's making it difficult for them to restore these things so that public machines are on the road to maintain the road, because if you get to private companies, you get your cut. But it never happened. So then even when it comes to rice, you see how I talk about how to solve it? Instead of my government giving budgeting and giving $11 million to rice importers to subsidize the price of rice as it happened in the last budget year, I want to take that $11 million, go to Europe, America, or China, and say, give me machines, X number of machines based on the advice of the Agriculture Ministry and Public Works and all of that. And in 5 years, in 10 years, we'll pay your money. At least we'll use the machine, generate money, and pay back. We're making hundreds of millions of dollars from rice production. So I said I will make the government hospital and clinics #1. And I said, why? Because I will go there myself to do surprise medical checkup. I go to Harper, JJ Dozen Hospital. I say I came for complete medical checkup. When they say, oh, Mr. President, we get this, we get this, we get that here. I get the head of the hospital dismissed, sent to the police to account for everything that is there. The next day I'm in Bogasa. The other day I'm in Rappersport. I would take 2 months on it going up and down. By the time when you look, because before I go as the finance minister, has there been disbursement to that medical unit or not? I go there. Once we take actions, government medicine will be there, the equipment will be there. Because I strongly believe that when a clinic or hospital is not good for the president, then it's not good for any citizen too. Because you're not president for yourself, you're president for the citizen. That's why I bet President we have to go to 14 military again. If he has had it, why? Because the Minister of Finance who disburses money kept telling us that 14 military hospital is the best in West Africa, state of the art. Then God moved from behind. God knows how to solve problems. He was going to Lofa or coming from Lofa, he had an accident, he and his wife. So why he didn't go to the 14 military that he was praising so much? But they left and went to Turkey and left the the driver and the security to JFK just for killing. If it is good, then go there yourself. And that's what I intend to do. As president, I will pay surprise visits to government hospitals and clinics. And I will make them number one by taking action to make sure that the equipment supplied by government, the medicine supplied by government are ordered. In some clinics, also in Monrovia, they will tell you, in Monrovia, they tell you at JFK, go to Lucky across the road. They don't even tell you, they tell you directly which pharmacy to go to. I don't know what the relationship is between them and Lucky. But in some clinics outside, they tell you, go to AB drugstore, go to this person drugstore, which means it creates a suspicion that there is a relationship between those who are operating those medical units and the owners of pharmacies and drugstores. We need to change that story. Liberia is a naturally rich country. I like to repeat this all the time. Liberia is a naturally rich country, but the voters in Liberia choose poverty by voting for bags of rice, money, and liquor on election day. So they elect people who are not competent and don't have the experience to do what needs to be done for Liberia to be a better country. Me, I want to make Liberia a sweet land of liberty for all Liberians by doing things that will transform the lives of people and make Liberia so attractive that our young people will not be living, trying to go to Europe through the desert and die in the desert, and those who survive die in the Mediterranean Sea, or our young girls going to Dubai and other places, and they are used as sex slaves and all of that, and be on the air through human traffickers, they have to bring them back. If Liberia is made to function better, we are a rich country, we have a rich soil. In terms of fertility, then under that soil, we have diamond, we have gold, we have iron ore, we have uranium, we have so many mineral resources. So all we need in this country is to have good management of our resources, good lawmakers, and this country will be much better than even Botswana. Botswana is a landlocked country that has 70% of its land covered by desert, only has 30%, but with good administration in Botswana, Botswana exports meat to Southern Africa. With the diamond, the only diamond, Botswana has some of the best infrastructure, health system, educational system, and like I said, they export meat, which means they have enough to eat for the population of less than 3 million to eat. That legacy was established by the first president. So in Liberia, we only need one good president to set a new standard of governance, and Liberia will be a better place. Like how Rollins tried in Ghana and changed Ghanaian story in a better way. That's what I want to do for Liberia.
You think you're that person?
I strongly believe I'm that person. I have a strong conviction that in 2-3 years, Liberians will begin to say like Ghanaians can say, our country is the best.
Councillor Gongloe, before we move over to some national issues, normally in our setting, presidential aspirants or political leaders are normally noted for giving the kind of promises, especially during election time, making good promises, identifying ills in society, giving the people hope that yes, when I come to power, I will be able to do this. But at the end of the day, coming to power, we see nothing than what they have said, right? With all of what you have outlined
What makes me different, right?
To do for the betterment of Liberia, do you see the need of getting the resources to settle Liberia to a standard for which you envisage?
Liberia is a great country. Like someone used to say, the sky is the limit when it comes to Liberia's progress. And I have a strong conviction that I can transform Liberia. Otherwise, I would have working with the UN, perhaps would have gone way up. We got work. I started as a UN volunteer in South Africa in 1994. Kofi Annan started as a UN volunteer and became Secretary General. I worked with Cllr Center in Ethiopia. I was a research fellow at Harvard. I've had opportunities outside, but Liberia burns my heart I want my country to be good. And I have a track record of doing what I say. When I went to the position of Solicitor General, I went there two things: to make sure that nobody who speaks against the government goes to jail, journalists and everybody. That's why the first day I got there, I closed. I said I will close an underground jail. I said that before the Senate. The day I got to Ministry of Justice, I closed an underground jail that I free Sanamo and other journalists from. Then I said I will transform prosecution. I found out that all the county attorneys in Liberia were not law school graduates. By the time I got there, only one law school graduate, the late Samuel Jacobs. I transformed that. Before I left, in 2 years, I transformed prosecution. All the county attorneys in Liberia were only law school graduates. Unlike the situation where some people are not even high school graduates. I went to Ministry of Labor. I said I will emphasize the liberalization policy to give jobs to Liberians. I raised the work permit fee with my team from $400 to $1,000. Immediately, a lot of employers dropped their foreign employees and employ Liberians. I can think through things before I say it. And everything I say, I think that are doable, and I've asked experienced people, like old man Jim Dennis, one of the oldest presidents in the country right now. He's the brother of the late C.C. Dennis, former foreign minister. I visited him and I told him my plan. We had a light discussion. It was on Facebook. He said, everything you say are straightforward. They are the things that Liberia needs, and they are simple to do. The way you say you will do it are correct. They are doable. And he's not the only person. I talked to Mary Parker. I talked to so many experienced, civil servants and people who are real seniors in Liberia. And they tell me, where you got the ideas from? How come people are not been thinking about them? Because they are easy, they are doable, and they are the real problems in Liberia that when solved can transform our lives. Of course, my number one issue I'll do this rule of law is the foundation for all of that. And I have a 12-count prescription to combat corruption. I want the president's salary and the salary of all the politicians in 3 branches of government to be on the internet, in the newspaper, in simple English for everybody to know. Why? Because in your community, when a minister who is making worth less than $50,000 a year is billing $300,000 after 2 months in government, you yourself will go on the ring and say the minister is a rogue. That level of openness will prevent corruption. Of course, some people are brave, they will still be corrupt. And when they are corrupt, as soon as I hear you billing, I call you. Is that true? I fire you, send you to the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission for full investigation and prosecution. When you are found guilty, you go to jail for 5 to 10 years. And the money you are in the bank and all other properties acquired without corruption money will be confiscated from you. Then your family starts suffering. And I always ask the question in the 301,000 account. You think when 5 ministers are in jail and their family members are suffering, all their properties taken in jail for 10 years each, any minister wants to take it? They said no. I said, anybody who want to come to government? They said no. I said, they have solved 2 problems. First, there will be money to do all I think in education and everything. But the Bojo business in Liberia will start their hardware business. Their hardware business in Liberia is because they go to medicine man. I want to be minister, say bring me human being. I want to win the election of Bureau representative, bring me human being apple. I want to be senator, bring me human being liver. I want to be managing director, bring me human being kidney. Human beings can't be living for these parts to be taken. It is because of the profitability they find in government through corruption that engage in these things. So when we stop corruption and know where to be corrupt in government, we're in jail, then we not start Bojo business. And Liberia will be safe. Be like my time growing up in this country. When I was in Mela public school, my mom used to say, I was 7 years old. When you come from school, come meet me on the farm, your food will be there. Nobody does it now in the interior. Nobody wants their wives to walk in the farm row alone. So corruption is a threat to our development and to our personal safety in Liberia.
Finally, before we leave you, recently the Formaton Declaration was held, and we're told you were on your tour. were your party represented? And secondly, what do you have to say?
I signed that fundamental declaration. Some women working with ECOWAS came here. In fact, I was the first person to sign it.
You signed it in your office?
Yeah, they came here right in his office, and I signed it. I said, well, all the other person will take it, it'll be signed. So unless there's a different document, but they told me they were ECOWAS women. I believe that the same people. If not, we agree with it. We are a party of peace. We promote peace, and we are among the oldest party in Liberia. We are the party of advocates, people who advocated for open society and political plurality, multi-party system. And we believe in peace, and that is why we push rule of law, because without justice there can be no sustainable peace. And we are front runner in terms of knowledge of Liberian issues and how to solve them. That's why I speak like this. These things I talk about, I think that we've been advocating for years.
Okay.
And that's why when some people talk about all the opposition parties, politicians working together, I say it's possible, but you have to deal with those who are knowledgeable and stand up for something. Me, people can predict me. I'm prepared to die for Liberia any day. I'm prepared to lose any opportunity for Liberia. I've done that. I resigned from government as Minister of Labor. So it will come together. Somebody was telling me, you can come together. One of my supporters, I said, that's right. Man, like somebody like my other colleague, Cummings is versed in the commercial thing. I can make Cummings my Minister of Commerce. And I think he will carry on good policies as Minister of Commerce, where he knows about selling and buying. He was working, the only thing he had done in his life is working in a commercial setting. So you'll be a very good Minister of Commerce for Liberia. Honorable Joseph Baga rose to Vice President. Everybody knows that, age, even myself, the things I used to do 10 years ago, I can't do now. But we need knowledge. That's why I'm trying to protect all people that will become president. Everybody from 65 years old will get free medical treatment in the government hospital and clinic, so they can be around to advise us, to give us wisdom. So I could make Liberian people be so happy, since I'm the change agent, to have Oman Waka, the experienced man, as my advisor, senior advisor advising me. He advising me, Commerce Minister. We can have the government will be very good.
Okay.
We have an excellent government for Liberia.
So you have a government on inclusion?
Oh yeah. I promised Cummings to be my Commerce Minister and Baga to be my senior advisor.
Lastly, sir,
because you see, to be president of Liberia, the thing I'm doing, nobody has done, they can't do it. Me, I do 80 push-ups every morning. Okay, let's go. And nobody can do it. Not even George can do 80 push-ups. I don't drink. You can drink and all those different things. Okay. So that's the best way. That's another way of coming together.
Okay, Councillor, when do you name your running mate?
Oh, pretty soon. Pretty soon. As soon as. Oh, I'm not going to give you the time, but I will name.
This month?
I will name my running mate far before the time that is required for the submit our ticket. But there are so many. And now you can be my running mate because you are about 35. This country has so many good people. It has to be, because the Constitution says presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate can come from the same country. So the geographic balance is a given. So it's not even something that is discretionary.
I was trying to say the country is divided into region. You got a western.
I don't like that division.
Southeastern.
I don't like that division. I don't play. I just talk about southeastern in terms of development, all of that. But politically, the country is small for it to be talking about.
What do you look for in a vice president?
A vice president has to be prepared to be president anytime. So I would judge a president by the character set, the person's integrity, the person's ability to work hard, the person's creativity, the person's humility, and being humble with God. I'm a person who take myself to anybody. Right now, I can go have lunch, maybe on Cllr Street. There, I said I have lunch with the people. I'm the only non-politician that is a street person who walk the street. So I like people. I don't like arrogant, cocky people. I like everyday people who can relate to anyone, because it makes people open to tell you their minds. You know, the things I learn from people every day. Like I know about Kobo. I know that during Ellington, Kobo was 75, 100. Now, Kobo is 250, 300. And even now, that fish tail you can get, and now one person can buy Kobo. They can group 3 or 4 persons and they do what they call sepe. I learned all that thing right down the road, sepe. And now the Kobo pool, they tell me the Kobo pool I get in the market, because when they do sepe, the book can pay on time.
Is there a high possibility that maybe a woman?
You know, everything lies within the logical realm of probability. We are looking for qualified people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There will be no discrimination.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you so much. Thank you for your